Hello folks and welcome to the show. My name is Asa Morris and this is Weird Week. If you haven't yet, check out our new show, also on this channel, where I just run around TikTok debunking things. It's a great time and the second episode just got uploaded, where I face some hard, flat earth evidence. Also, please swing over to your preferred podcast provider to check out our show, Low Strangeness. I'm doing it every week. This week, I am diving into a very strange, seemingly prophetic comment made by a Redditor 7 years ago that at the time seemed incredibly unlikely, though now maybe not so much. New episodes of that every single Monday, well, until this season ends in about 3 weeks. And then I take a month off. And then there's more. Low Strangeness. Also, of course, make sure you are following us on all the socials. That's Instagram, TikTok, Twitter. I'm sure I've made accounts and forgot about them elsewhere, but those are the big three at the moment. We also do have a Patreon if you are into helping us out in that way. Also, we do now have a small amount of merch if you want to help support the show in that way. All of those links, all of our links, all the time, will be available in the link tree, which, as you've probably guessed, is in the show description. Lastly, make sure to do the big 5. That's like, comment, sub, bell, share. And let's get on with it. Because folks, starting the week off comes a quick sighting from near my home area in upstate New York, which seems to display 1 or 2 illuminated objects in the evening sky. A number of comments in the thread mentioned how this looks a lot like the reported dumbbell-shaped UFO crafts. Also on Sunday, also on Reddit, multiple users began posting photos of this. Some people reported that something had fallen through the clouds, and some even reported that the object broke in 2 on its way down. A number of theories were suggested: a meteor, rocket debris, which we sure are seeing a lot of lately, and of course, a plane. No theory has been confirmed as the truth as of yet. However, lining this sighting up with logged flights in the area seems to match up, and looking at the images as not falling downward, but instead across the sky, the object seems to just be going along its horizontal course. Popacepetl, a volcano in Mexico that I have discussed in earlier episodes, and no stranger to odd activity, was of course again the site of odd activity. Cameras that regularly record and stream activity around the volcano picked this site up on Monday. An object seems to careen down through the sky toward the volcano and burst into a flash of light directly above it. Slowing the video down, we see first that there is no impact with the volcano, and second, that after the burst occurs, a sliver of light remains where the burst occurred in the sky, leading some internet UFO fans to declare a craft entered a portal. Regardless of what occurred in this video, this particular volcano has regularly seen odd activity that is not normally seen around volcanoes, such as in this video.
Estas son imágenes captadas por la cámara de Televisa, ubicada en el Cerro Alzomoni, muy cerca del volcán Popacepetl.
Or this video. Or this video. Something is happening there. Also on Monday, Lon Strickler's website Phantoms and Monsters ran a great article about apparent Caspian Sea aquatic humanoid reports. Bear with me. According to the article, there have been recent rumors that the Iranian government has launched an investigation into this type of creature after multiple reports over many years by fishermen in the Caspian Sea. Residents of coastal areas around the southern and southwestern Caspian Sea have been reporting an amphibious creature resembling a human being. In March 2005, an eyewitness account from the crew of the Baku, an Azeri trawler, was published by Iranian newspaper Zindagi. That creature was swimming parallel course near the boat for a long time, said Gafar Gassanov, a captain of the ship. At the beginning we thought it was a big fish, but then we spotted hair on the head of the monster and his fins looked pretty strange. The front part of his body was equipped with arms, said the captain. The creature has now been sighted by multiple witnesses over the last 15 years, and is usually identically described by all witnesses. His height is 165 to 168 centimeters. He has a strong build, a protruding stomach, his feet are pinniped, and he has 4 webbed fingers on either of his hands. His skin is of moonlight color. The hair on his head looks black and green. His arms and legs are shorter and heavier than those of a medium-built person. Apart from his fingernails, he has nails growing on the tip of his aquiline nose that looks like a dolphin's beak. No information as to his ears. His eyes are large and orbicular. The mouth of the creature is fairly large, his upper jaw is prognathic, and his lower lip flows smoothly into the neck. His chin is missing. I don't know. On Tuesday, this video of an apparent EVP popped up. I'll let you see if you hear what I hear. Now let me play that again. The EVP is at the very beginning of the video. So what did you hear? Personally, I heard "help me" 3 times. There doesn't seem to be anyone in the room that is making that sound. An interesting clip. In the middle of the week, we began to see articles dealing with Mike Rogers. If you don't know, Mike was the leader of Travis Walton's logging crew when Walton was allegedly abducted in 1975. If you have never heard of the Walton case, check out the 1993 film Fire in the Sky. Regardless of how you feel about the case itself, the film is fantastic. So, anyway, Mike Rogers recently posted this to his Instagram. I, Michael H. Rogers, being of sound and rational mind, do hereby give notice that I am no longer to be considered a witness to Travis C. Walton's supposed abduction of November 5th, 1975. A lot of the UFO community seemed to take this to mean that Rogers was retracting his previous statements and stance on the infamous case and casting doubt on Travis Walton's version of events. However, Rogers uses the term supposed abduction for 2 reasons. First, as Rogers and Walton have both said, Rogers was not actually a witness to the event. They have always said this. Second, Rogers and Walton have a number of professional disputes that have been going on for a long time, mostly based around the financial success of the film and book. He was not casting doubt or suspicion onto Walton's case. Thursday was April Fool's Day, and I strongly considered omitting the day entirely from this episode. As you can see, I did not do that. What I did do was stick to high-level, professional material, such as this article from the Washington Post, which begins, "We need to talk about UFOs again. Yes, this is being published on April 1st. No, this is not a joke column," which I took as a good sign. The article, for the most part, keeps up pace with what a lot of the UFO community is talking about in regards to the upcoming disclosure report, with a lot of speculation, analysis of possible details, and theorizing about what it will ultimately mean for us. Though many of the followers of this topic are pretty much at the same point, having this being discussed openly in papers like the Washington Post or the New York Times, brings this difficult and existential conundrum to the common people, so to speak. It's a great article and well worth the read, especially if you are one of the people who still do not or cannot accept what is happening right now. So please read it. Following the article's publication, Christopher Mellon retweeted it. Mellon, who is the former Deputy Assistant Secretary of Defense for Intelligence and former Minority Staff Director of the Senate Select Committee on Intelligence, that's a hell of a resume, tweeted the article adding, "Although it is likely to be delayed, Dan Dresner is absolutely correct that we need to begin preparing for the potentially far-reaching ramifications of the pending unclassified UAP report." Like I've been saying to you all, come to terms with it. Also on Thursday, an interview with Louis Elizondo, former director of ATIP, the recently unclassified U.S. Advanced Aerospace Threat Identification Program, and current director of Global Security and Special Programs at To the Stars Academy, was posted, hosted by Jamarl Thomas. The entire discussion is fascinating, but let me play you the part that really grabbed my attention.
There's also a New York Times article that talks about off-world craft basically being recovered. I'll just read it. So Eric W. Davis is an astrophysicist who works as a subcontractor and a consultant for the Pentagon UFO program since 2007. Said in some cases, examination of materials has so far failed to determine their source that led to conclude we couldn't make it ourselves. Now, this eventually gets to him talking about off-world recovery. We have vehicles, basically, is what I'm understanding. Like, I just want to nail that down so it's understood. And in the context of those vehicles, it seems like we're trying to either recreate the technology, but we don't seem to be all that successful at it. Am I understanding this right? And you can add anything into this that you can legally add to this. But I'm only saying it because it's in the New York Times.
Let me give you an analogy. If a 747, let's say a cargo aircraft 747, were to crash in the middle of the Amazon rainforest, and for argument's sakes, the pilots were able to survive, and they let's say they took parachutes and they're fine and healthy. And the 747 comes plopping out of the sky and falls into the middle of the rainforest, and an indigenous group of individuals who live in that part of the rainforest come across the wreckage, and all of a sudden they see all sorts of metal all over the place and broken glass, and they pick up the glass and they start to use the glass to cut meat, to prepare meat, because it's obviously sharper than maybe some of the natural material they have in the rainforest. Are they exploiting that material? Yes, but do they really understand the purpose of that material and how it is put together in the greater picture, and the physics behind a 747 and how that operates? Probably not. So I don't think it should be a surprise to anybody that our national security apparatus is always trying to figure out how our foreign adversaries are using material. And if they have a breakthrough in something, obviously we want to know about it. So it's not a big leap of faith for people to recognize that we do that anyways, and so do other countries. But do we have the savvy and sophistication and know-how with debris to put one of these things back together again? That would certainly be a challenge, and that's also a very good question, and one that I probably can't elaborate on, other than what I've already stated for the record in the past.
That's fair.
More research needs to be done. How about that? Let's just put it that way.
Later in the interview, Mr. Thomas asked Elizondo the question that a lot of us have been wondering and would like the answer to. Why now? Elizondo gives a long response about sometimes you have to clean the rotten food out of your fridge before it begins to stink too much, and how if they don't disclose now, the American people will not trust the government and won't know what to believe. Which I think is laughable at this point. But ultimately, Elizondo makes the point, why now? Why not now? Which I think is a fair response. On Friday, news broke that the UK will also be launching its own Space Force, Space Command, a joint command of the British Army, the Royal Navy, and the Royal Air Force, with a mission to understand and monitor the domain of space. The unit will be responsible for space operations, space workforce generation, and space capability. That includes a remit for UK Space Operations Centre, Skynet Satellite Communications, a system currently owned and operated for the Ministry of Defence by Airbus Defence and Space Limited, and the monitoring of space for missiles and other space objects at RAF Flyingdales. Other space objects. Well, we all know how I feel about ghost photos and videos. It's a bug, it's pareidolia, it's cobwebs, etc. However, on Saturday, a few not bad ones popped up. First up, this ethereal form popped up in a home security video. The interesting thing is that it maintains a shape, there seems to be clear definition, and there is no forced movement. It doesn't act like smoke, it doesn't act like cobwebs, it doesn't act like a puppet. It's a decent clip. And then we have this video of a very frightened woman filming things in her kitchen, allegedly moving by themselves.
That plate's moving. That plate. I'm scared to go in the kitchen in case it comes out. It's me. Can you see that? That plate is moving. Oh my god. It just broke that plate. Oh my god, guys.
This is another instance where I am compelled to believe the situation based on the human reaction.
Why did you do that?
Personally, I am familiar with similar situations and have seen this play out elsewhere, so this clip seems real to me. And that's our week. As always, there was a mountain of weirdo, odd things I could have talked about, and didn't. If you see something throughout the week that you'd like me to talk about, whether on this show or the podcast, feel free to hit us up on any of the socials or email us directly at lowstrangeness@gmail.com. Like every week, I'm not saying any of this is true or false, only interesting. I always try to weed out the fakes, except for when they deserve to be called out, of course, but generally, that's not the point of this show. If you would like more in-depth discussion, of course, once again, check out our podcast, Low Strangeness. It's on all of the podcast providers, new episodes every Monday. It's a good show. Go listen to it. Go subscribe to it. Once again, I am Asa Morris, and this has been Weird Week. Thank you so much for joining us, and we certainly hope to see you again. Make sure you check out all the links, especially our link tree for everything us. And don't forget to do the big 5, like, comment, subscribe, bell, share. Is that all of them? All of it. Take care of yourselves and the people around you, and I will see you next week. Oh, and there's a good chance I'll say...